Please be seated. Good evening. Before we start the official program, I would like you to cast an eye over this wonderful set, which has been in development, I think, for at least 3 years, with pieces being added. 3 graduating parents have invested a great deal of time and effort and work into this set. So I would like to embarrass them by asking them to stand up, please. Tom Fitzpatrick, Sylvia Hammerlund, and Monica Lehman. There's going to be lots of little pieces of you left behind in Düsseldorf. Thank you very much. So to open the proceedings, I'd like to invite Mr. Head, our director.
Honored guests, members of the Board of Trustees, parents, staff, graduates. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 2019 Grade 12 graduation. Tonight, we honor our graduating seniors by celebrating their achievements and recognizing their contribution to ISD. This is a time to reflect upon your years at school and to wonder about the endless possibilities that is your future. Your teachers, parents, family, and friends, we're all proud of each of you. Thank you for your time at ISD, whether you joined in reception or grade 11. We feel privileged to have shared a part of your life with you. Parents, thank you for entrusting your children with us. We share your sense of joy, gratitude, and perhaps relief. A parent recently shared with me a story. Whenever she asked her daughter to help with the chores around the house or the dishes, she would respond, "I can't, I have the IB."
Now that she's finished, she asked her to help with the dishes and chores around the house, to which she replied, "But I've just done the IB." I remember when I taught IB physics 25 years ago in Australia, we had some T-shirts made for our students. I found one the other day. And on this T-shirt, we printed upside down the exam physics formulas. Now, this was from the 90s. We thought it was pretty cool. I'm not sure the students did. But on the back was printed, "I think, therefore I be." And this was a play on a philosophical proposition by René Descartes, "I think, therefore I am." Now, I'm not going to say anything that even sounds like TOK after the comments I heard at the prom on Saturday about TOK. Nonetheless, the IB diploma has become synonymous with extreme conditions, where survival is the goal. And achieving your IB is considered a supreme accomplishment. Under these circumstances, it is easy to be consumed by your IB and even become inwardly focused. However, the IB was designed in part to help us appreciate different perspectives. So I would encourage you to remember that each person you encounter is living his life as vivid and as complex as your own. We tend to forget this. We tend to think that people around us somehow owe us, or that their purpose is to somehow make our lives easier. To some extent, this may be true with families, but our perspective is only one of many who all live lives that are equally valuable, with equally valuable concerns, cares, loves, worries, hopes, and dreams. When we realize that everyone's life matters, we are mindful of the impact we have on others. As you dream about your future and you consider your next steps, take some time to think about what it means to live a good life. Consider that success follows happiness and not the other way around. It's easy to get caught up in a race to be successful. Too often, work becomes a job, sometimes a career, but rarely a calling, a genuine belief in the value of what you do. At the start of this year, I challenged all senior school students and teachers to use their learning to take action to make the world or our community a better place. I shared a quote from Muhammad Ali, who once said, "The service you do for others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." You are privileged to have had an IB education and attend a great school like ISD. How you choose to use your education is up to you. Your success will be measured in the actions you take, the compassion you show, the quality of your thinking, and the strengths of your relationships. So to the graduating class of 2019, congratulations. Thank you for your leadership, your kindness, and your contribution to ISD. We are grateful to have been part of your journey and to have seen you grown over the years. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to raise one final issue. Graduation marks the completion of something special. It's not generally a race. Some take longer to graduate than others. One learner in particular has not been in a hurry to graduate. This person has been very mindful about ensuring it is the journey and not the destination that is important. Along his journey, he has contributed much to the lives of others. So I hope the organizers forgive me for making a slight change to the program this evening. I would like to invite the outgoing Chair of Board of Trustees, Adriana Blomeyer, to join me on stage so that we can present a special ISD diploma. This person has dedicated half his life to ISD and its students and has presided over 24 graduations. Michael, please come forward to accept the special diploma to mark your graduation from ISD.
And these people know how much I don't like my schedule to be messed up. Thank you very much. I don't usually say anything at these occasions, but the graduation is also more formally known, and I think it's on our... No, it's not on our one here, but anyway. This ceremony is often known as commencement exercises because the students are not only leaving a place, but they're starting on a new stage of their lives, which is exactly what Teresa and I are doing. We are looking forward to another 33 years doing something else. We've loved doing what we're doing, but it's maybe time to throw away the alarm clock. I threw a suit into the recycling this afternoon. I threw one out yesterday, the day before. I'm throwing one out tomorrow. So thank you all very much indeed. Seniors, I'm sorry we messed up your schedule. Thank you. It gives me very great pleasure, because I've already read the speech, to introduce the class speaker, Joana Peteruto, who was elected by her classmates.
Good evening, parents, friends, aunts, uncles, grandmas, and last but not least, teachers. I want to thank my fellow peers of the class of 2019 for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you all today. I hope you do not regret voting me. In case you do, I'm sorry in advance. I really did try my best to make this speech sound as accomplished as possible when I prepared it last weekend. But when thinking about it, my preparation for today really is a reflection of us all as a grade. So to start off, I think it will be excellent to talk about some of the remarkable key traits which make the class of 2019 unique and exceptional. Us as a grade are known amongst our fellow teachers for being a very late class, and apparently in all aspects. Late to class, late for turning in assignments. I mean, we even have a prom award for being late. But if you really think about it, we are talented latecomers. Because although we might have not made it to homeroom on time 80% of the year, Ms. Montigny, I'm horribly sorry. We are all here today healthy, accomplished students ready to receive our diplomas. Moving on, the class of 2019 are the masters of something all adults will need at some point in their life: negotiation. Whether negotiating with a boss, a bank, landlord, or partner, the important life skill of negotiation will prove handy, and luckily, our time as high school students at ISD has given us the opportunity to develop and perfect the skill. A prime example of this would be our talent in pushing back all given deadlines, with no exception, in the past 2 years. For example, IAs, written tasks, and the extended essay. Now, this is what I call an exceptional accomplishment. I know for a fact that Miss Morrissey, somewhere, yes, she can attest to my words, so in case any of you are in doubt of the certainty of my claims, please refer to her. I'm sure she'll be very happy to be supporting my arguments. On the class of 2019 and my behalf, we are glad to have finally reached this day. I speak for the grade when I say that we are very skeptical that many of the acquired skills will prove handy in what our parents like to call the real world. But in my opinion, we as a class are ready to tackle this real world with all the knowledge which we have gained in high school, like dividing polynomials, analyzing 18th century poetry, identifying mitochondria, and etc., like things that adults do all the time in their daily lives. Nonetheless, although we might have struggled to understand stylistic features in Shakespeare's Macbeth, which Ms. Schwarting, I'm so sorry, I still can't. I don't understand it. Apart from that, I believe that we will all grow up to be accomplished adults in the future. In the coming months, each one of us will be going through changes, whether it be the place we are living in, the people we are surrounded by, or the knowledge we acquire. Change is a concept which we have had to experience throughout our whole lives as international students. Having moved a lot throughout my school years, I know how it feels to move away from something you've gotten to know over the years and start completely over. I came to ISD at the beginning of 11th grade, and to be honest, you guys were really scary at first, honestly. But in the end, we adapted to each other and we thrived together. This goes to say that change is something we're going to have to get used to because all things change. Remember when in 5th grade, we weren't allowed to use our calculators because our teachers told us that no one in the real world would be carrying one in their pockets at all times. That drastically changed. Or when our parents told us to never talk to anyone on the internet or get into strangers' cars. Now we have things called Uber or My Taxi on our phones, which select a random internet stranger specifically so we can get in their car. Point being, change is always happening, and we learn to navigate it. Over the course of the following years, it will be interesting to see where we all take our lives. Due to social media, which I must say we have definitely mastered, we will be able to stay in contact with each other and follow along one another's paths. We might not see it now, but the bond we have created throughout our high school years is a bond for life. We have wound ourselves into an exceptional network of people from all around the world, which others could only dream of. This goes to show that we, IB students, have acquired countless traits in the process of overcoming our high school journey. I would therefore like to end on a more serious note by giving back some very much needed thank yous to various groups amongst us here today. I'd like to start off by thanking the wonderful leaders of the International School of Düsseldorf for the successful managing of bringing all these different cultures, needs, and individuals under one umbrella. We mostly take this for granted, but you guys are doing an incredible job in making the school run smoothly and making it a great experience for everyone. So thank you to the director, the principals, and the board of ISD. Also, I would like to thank the people who literally allowed us to receive our diplomas today, the ones who have had to go through the same explanation at least 10 times before we understood it. Although we might have not always agreed with their approaches, I must say, They definitely have been effective. You are the most intelligent, inspiring, and supporting group of individuals, which we have had the pleasure of learning from while at ISD. So dear teachers, thank you, and this round of applause goes to you. Now, the most beautiful thing in the world is to see your parents smiling and knowing that you are the reason behind that smile. For all that our parents do for us, there is no way of repaying them. Though they do not expect anything but love from us, an occasional thank you or an acknowledgement might just make them happy. Therefore, I would like to thank not only my mom and dad, but all our families here today for having watched over us and supported us every step of the way. They will be the one whose grip will be the hardest to let go as we start our independent lives. You have raised us to become the versatile and talented kids we are today, so therefore, thank you. To conclude, I want to thank my grade, the class of 2019. I know I haven't been at this school for very long, but you guys really made my time here unforgettable. I have met extraordinary people, scientists, economists, artists, singers, mathematicians, and etc. Although some might doubt it, you guys really are a noteworthy grade. To be fair, we did have our ups and downs, possibly arguments, fights, but in all honesty and from the bottom of my heart, I am delighted to have gone through these 2 years with you all. So to conclude this, I thank you, the class of 2019. Congratulations, guys. We made it. Thank you.
Well, proof of what an excellent choice the students made. Thank you very much. That was one of the most gracious speeches I can ever remember hearing. They're not leaving because they're fed up. One of the big highlights of our graduations is the music provided by the students. Oftentimes it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. Here, I haven't even counted them. But we have 9 prospective graduates. We have a faculty member. We have up-and-coming senior school students as well. They're the ISD Big Band, led by Mr. Chris Sabuco. They're going to give us Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, band. Next, we come to two traditions of these graduations. The first is that at the very beginning, I forgot to invite everybody, as I forget every year, to invite everybody to the reception afterwards in the Commons Room, so you're now duly invited. The other tradition is probably more important. It's the Senior Challenge. Each year, the seniors pass on a challenge to the senior class, and then the following year, the week before graduation, everybody sits down and tries to remember what the challenge was. So please pay very close attention as Lexi von Stein, the senior class president, challenges Aurora Sonkin, the 11th grade president.
Hello, and congratulations to the class of 2019. On behalf of Student Council, I would like to announce our senior challenge. The challenge given to us by last year's graduating class was to create a stepping stone and reads Class of 2019, which hereby Aurora will reveal. This stone will be placed beside that of the class of 2018 in front of the North Building. So when we visit in 10, 20, 30 years, we will definitely have something personalized to look back at and, most importantly, be proud of. Thank you for making this possible. And now, to maintain their tradition, we will be revealing our senior challenge to the class of 2020. We challenge you to continue this tradition by also creating a class of 2020 stone. However, in addition, we also challenge you to plant a tree on campus that will grow alongside every single one of you and your personal achievements. Aurora, do you accept this challenge?
Yes, I accept.
Thank you, class of 2019, for so many excellent years, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Congratulations.
Okay, the class challenges year by year are literally being cast in stone. That should be an easy one to remember. The second of our musical presentations comes from Yurika Sato, who will be graduating this evening, and she will present Toimarai by Robert Schumann, and she will be accompanied by Marie Sato. Thank you very much, Yurika and Marianne. Next is the honour speaker who's been chosen by the faculty to represent the qualities of the class of 2019. Stacey Albegova.
Hello, everyone. So allow me to begin by recounting a brief memory from my elementary school years. I remember my first day at ISD. It was September of 2009. I was 8 years old, and I entered 3.2, which was Mrs. Brown's classroom, and Mr. Phil was the classroom assistant. And I was confused, scared, and culture shocked. As many of you will know, in elementary school, new students are assigned a buddy or two who helps them acclimate the first couple of days at ISD. And I remember that my buddies were Anna Lehmann, who's here today, as well as Nina Vijayavargiya, who moved away a couple of years ago. So my first day was mostly a blur, but I did retain one distinct memory. And that was Nina and Anna in the playground fighting over who would get to walk me back to the classroom. So this was a verbal, not a physical fight, just to clarify. And the reason that stuck with me was not only because I was delighted at my apparent new celebrity status as the new student, although that was a big part of it. The real reason was because that simple experience really helped to characterize the ISD community for me. For lack of a more descriptive phrase, people at ISD are incredibly nice. And this manifests in the little things. Teachers will stop in the hallway to talk with students. Someone will check up on you if you're sitting in the library alone. Someone will offer to read over your essay and provide feedback. Especially in the last 2 years, I have felt that these DP years have created a sense of camaraderie between our grade. And I have continued to experience the same empathy exuding from each of my classmates as I did in that September of 2009. So it is an honor to graduate along each one of you. Thank you. Now, I want to spend some time discussing the overarching reason we are all here today, and that is education. We all know that a strong academic background is essential to progress in this world, and it is no secret that ISD students are academically gifted. But I think what really distinguishes us from other students at other schools are the soft skills or the people skills that have been embedded into our education. And interestingly, these skills or soft skills have been media popularized recently, but they bear a striking resemblance to the IB learner profile, which has been developed many years prior. Open-minded, principled, communicators, risk-takers. I will be honest, in most of our minds, the IB learner profile has become a meme of sorts just because of how many times we have heard it. But these are the very skills that will enable us to apply our academic knowledge in order to thrive in the real world. And I think by far the most important soft skill that I have retained from my time at ISD is leadership. By traditional definition, leadership refers to the ability to guide other individuals. And granted, we have been given plenty of opportunities to do this in different organizations that ISD has to offer. But today I would like to emphasize a different kind of leadership that doesn't always involve other people. And that is an inner type of leadership. In other words, being in control of your own life and learning. In my mind, inner leadership involves a sense of agency and independence, knowing what your goals are and guiding yourself not others, to achieve them, then reflecting on how to improve the outcomes of your efforts. And the first time that I really recognized this skill in myself was surprisingly whilst writing my extended essay. I was 5 pages deep into Google Scholar, scavenging for critical evaluations of the use of physical space in Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, as one does, when I caught myself thinking, I was methodically finding and synthesizing information, weeding out biased sources in an incredibly complex mental process, which has somehow become subconscious to me. I knew what I was looking for, I knew how to find it, and I was subliminally reflecting on whether each piece of information was useful to me. And to me, that is inner leadership. Since elementary school scribbles to manage back typed reflections, this mentality of goal setting and reflecting has become ingrained in us. And although the content of my cast reflections on my Duke of Edinburgh hike escapes me now, I recognize that this mentality is a hallmark trait of any leader. With it, we can create a vision for ourselves and pursue it. And I'm infinitely grateful to ISD to have been able to hone these skills from a very young age. And I believe that our propensity for inner and traditional leadership originates during teenagehood. Teenagehood is a critical but vulnerable time period. We are sensitive to criticism, and even seemingly innocuous comments can generate a lot of self-doubt. But when leadership is encouraged, when adults listen to you, validate your ideas, and treat you as their equals, it instills a sense of competence within you, and you feel like you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. I have that feeling, and I have ISD to thank for it, especially ISD's teachers. Our teachers have been our mentors, guides, and role models. Your every word of reassurance and each piece of advice has contributed to the development of our characters. After all, you've dictated what disciplines we grew to love, ultimately setting us on one life path over another. Most importantly, you have played a major part in our life, not only as professionals and educators, but as great people. In a way, I believe that ISD and its faculty have created an expectation about how we should be treated in the quote-unquote outside world. That is, with respect, with dignity and tolerance. And unfortunately, this expectation is not always realized, and some interactions with adults outside of ISD have made that very clear for me. However, I believe that ISD should serve as an exemplar. I sincerely hope that as we grow older, we will treat teenagers with the same respect that ISD has treated us with, to allow them to grow and to help them to become leaders. Now comes the most important part of my speech, where I thank my family. My mom, my dad, and my little sister Kira. They have always been my rock, have always been there for me. And this kind of unfaltering support makes you more confident and daring, and reminds you again and again that you exist outside of your academic performance. And although that seems self-evident, I think some of us tend to forget it. Also, a big thank you to my hamster Bob for being my therapy animal during exam season. He couldn't make it today, unfortunately. A big journey is coming to an end, and it is with pride but bittersweetness that I say thank you to all of you, classmates, parents, faculty, for being a part of it. As Sam nicely phrased in his prom speech, although time will make us drift into different places and journeys, we will always remain connected to each other as the class of 2019 ISD graduates. And indeed, the paths that we will undertake will spurt into opposite directions. They will tangle and maybe intertwine, but regardless, they will all share a common origin. the International School of Düsseldorf. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. It has been an absolute honor.
Well, I have to thank the class of 2019 for years as presiding over graduation. I have longed to hear student speeches which do not portray the IB diploma as some kind of hell, as some kind of commando assault course. This evening, I've heard two of the most outstanding student speeches I have ever heard. And what has made them outstanding is the celebration of their education. From both those girls, you could feel the joy that they have taken. And certainly for me, that's the biggest present I could ever get, is to be at the graduation where the students are expressing joy over their learning. Thank you very, very much. So now, Miss Morrissey, this lady here has by far the hardest assignment of the night in following those two. Marianne Morrissey.
Well, the Spice Girls are on tour. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, proud parents, guardians, family, friends, colleagues, and most importantly, the class of 2019. Welcome. It is a pleasure and an honor to speak to you this evening on behalf of this year's very good-looking graduating class. Now, they're looking well, but I need to know, Miss Masson, I see you up there at the back, were they on time? Yes? Well, there's a first time for everything. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Marianne Morrissey. I have been the year head for the last 3 years of this special class. When I was asked to give this speech, of course, I said yes straight away, even though I hate public speaking. I wondered why I had been chosen. I did hear a few students say they felt I knew them quite well, and I could tell a few stories about their class. I can see you're all looking a bit nervous over there. Don't worry, I promise you, the only person at risk of embarrassment this evening is me. I decided to approach this speech with the same intensity as many of you have your assignments. Joana finished her speech last weekend. I finished mine last night after consuming a couple of cans of Red Bull. I even thought about asking Mr. Coffey for one final extension, but I knew that wasn't going to work out for me. By the way, I decided to look up the definition of what deadline actually means. I was curious why so many of you still struggle to understand its meaning or just seem to ignore it these past few years. The first definition is the latest time or date by which something should be completed. And for added clarity, the historical definition of this term is a line drawn around a prison beyond which prisoners were liable to be shot. Now, parents, I don't want any parents to be concerned. We haven't used that method at ISD for years. We've had graduation in our sights for quite a while now. You set this goal back in grade 10. The goal has now become a reality, and it wasn't mission impossible. I've often referred to you as the class of 2019. This picture is now very real in our minds as we look at you proudly sitting here this evening. I thought about what I was going to say to you this evening, so I tried to remember back to my graduation. And the truth is, I couldn't remember a thing, even though I'm only 27. That was a bit loud. I suppose I would describe your last few years as being like preparing to run a marathon. It takes an extraordinary amount of hard work, resilience, and commitment. But when you finally cross that finish line, you know you've achieved something big. I dare say that for many of you, that moment was putting down your pen at the end of your final exam. Of course, before you can complete a marathon, you must first commit to run the race. Back when you were in grade 10, I too signed up to run a marathon. Now, I don't mean that as a metaphor. I actually ran a marathon race. I trained hard, running several smaller races in preparation. On the day of the big event, my husband and daughters were waiting for me at the finish line. I distinctly remember my 6-year-old daughter coming up to me at the end of the race and blurting out, "Mummy, you didn't win." I didn't answer straight away as I was still trying to catch my breath. I did try to explain that it felt like I had just won by just finishing the race. I tried to explain my reasons for running a race that I actually had no hope of ever winning. I explained that I was very happy with my personal time and how the race went according to plan. Of course, my plan was never to win. I had a different set of personal goals, but she wasn't ready to understand yet. Millions of people sign up to take part in marathons around the world and have no chance of ever finishing first or anywhere near medal position. So why do we do it? In many races I have participated in, I've had the feeling that I could never be the best. But I quickly learned that the only thing you can be the best at is developing your own self. I took a risk that day when running the marathon. I was inexperienced. I felt apprehensive that I might not finish, as you never actually run the 42.2 kilometers in training. But I met my original goal, and for me, that was a significant victory. Along the way, I hope you've learned a thing or two about good race preparation. Let's go over a couple of these points, starting with my favorite topic, punctuality. Now, to me, punctuality is an important aspect of race preparation, getting out the door on time in the morning. You would expect the longer distance you need to run, the more time needed. However, I noticed a pattern or correlation that seemed to indicate the opposite. The closer you live to school, the longer you need to run to school in the morning. The locals, as I refer to you, still need to work on this aspect of preparation, as I've never actually seen a Stau on Leuchtenberger Kirchweg. No names will be mentioned, you know who you are. And remember, speed is equal to distance over time. I also want to speak about hurdles and challenges. We undoubtedly face plenty of these in our race preparation, and sometimes they may seem insurmountable. You run the risk of an injury, for example, when you start to increase your pace or mileage. There are a vast number of challenges you are faced with before the final finish line. Some of those were inherent, like extended essay, TOK, CAS, and all the internal assessments, not to mention deadlines. And as if taking the DP was not enough, you added other goals to increase the challenge. Many of you decided to obtain your driving license. I have to say, I enjoyed the excitement of you going on the day of your actual driving test, full of self-confidence, positivity, and a few nerves. When you returned to school, I could tell simply by your demeanor how it went. Some of you avoided eye contact with me and hoped I wouldn't ask. But I wasn't going to let you off that lightly. Of course I asked. You explained what went wrong, and I could see that you had already reflected on the event and where it had gone wrong for you. Of course, it was the driving instructor's fault. You were also very quick to tell me you would be missing class in 2 weeks' time to resit the test, to which I responded, I should hope so. In 2 weeks' time, you sought me out to tell me you'd pass. I knew you'd get over that hurdle. That's what you call resiliency in action. I can confidently say that you've all demonstrated this in some way this past year. It is the inner resiliency that drives us to do things that may seem daunting or out of reach. Is that why we do it? Another thing I hope you've learned is the important role of your team of cheerleaders plays in supporting you through your marathon. I can promise you that your most devoted cheerleaders in life will always be the people here with you tonight, your family. I know it wasn't all plain sailing, and many parents here probably felt like they too had run a marathon. As a parent, I can tell you that even when you felt at your lowest, like you wouldn't make it to the finish line, your parents had your back. They believed in you and what you were capable of achieving. And moms, when you were being named as being part of the excuse, I had your backs. I can share with you from a parent perspective, when raising children, we never had the goal for you to be equated to a number. Remember this when you get your results. I can wholeheartedly and confidently tell you that we love you for who you are. You are the best at just being you. I also tried to run my marathon race under 4 hours. I thought running a marathon under the 4 hours would define me. But I know no single event defines who we are. I finished in 4 hours, that was fast, 4 hours, 10 minutes. But when I look at this picture, I don't see time. I see a woman who ran a marathon. I believe that creating your own experience is what running races is about. Our enjoyment, and importantly, our success, lies in the journey, the whole process of learning to be the best you can be. The end result, or finishing time, is not what defines you. In much the same way, no final IB results define you. We all know from experience that sometimes things don't go according to plan. It is impossible not to fail unless you are running so cautiously or slowly that you are not running at all. We need to feel success and failure before we can realistically set challenging goals for ourselves. My hope and belief is that this quality will be a strong foundation for the rest of your lives. It will empower you to embrace opportunities and confront challenges rather than shy away from them. Remember, we should never compare our achievements to the person running right or left of us. It's personal. I, for one, will not remember your grades, just like no one will remember my time for the races I have run. Success cannot be measured with a number. Success is the culmination of all the effort invested and lessons learned along the way. And now that you've crossed the finish line of the most important race in your life to date, you can take your breath and reset. After all, tomorrow your next race begins. Don't let that daunt you. Your legs have memory. Let your experience of previous races carry you forward with confidence and strength in the race ahead. Find your pace, and remember, only you can decide how you cross that finishing line. Thank you.
Well, Marianne promised a marathon speech. I thought she was going to be up here for half an hour. I was relieved it was about a marathon. Thank you. So we come to the main event of the evening, the presentation of the diplomas. So Simon and Adriana, would you please join us? Aidan Mark Adair.
Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up.
Ines Adan Castellon.
Amigos para siempre, me you'll always be my friend. Amics per sempre, mi saluda Canoren.
Stanislava Albegova.
So I say thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing.
Maximilian Ralph Ambrunen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Subwoofer kick test.
Alessandro Batigazor. Ewan Xavier Baudry.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Nadine Baum.
ارفعوا ايديكم بالعالي حيوا شعب واهاليا.
Olivia Ann Bale. Bartolozzo.
Duro, mi gata no puede janguear porque ella le gusta la gasolina.
Dame más gasolina.
Como le encanta la gasolina.
Tim Thomas Bradarich. Bart Charles Franciscus Brennickmeyer.
We get it almost every night when that moon is big and bright.
Daniel Michael Frederick Bunce.
'Cause I'm on top of the world, I'm on top of the world, waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt.
Maria Louise Bunyan.
You know I'm back, like I never left. Another sprint, another step, another.
Aditya Sampath Krishna Chakravarti. Chen. Leslie Ann Chevalier.
You are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17.
Chang Bei Choi. Mia Karis Kloppenburg. Samuel Lee Collins. Guillaume Contar de Barros.
O nosso lema é ousadia e alegria. A nossa cara é pagode todo dia. Cheio de estilo, na pressão eu vou com tudo. Só espalhando ousadia.
Yang Kui. Thomas Lawrence Cunningham. Natalie Bridget Ellen Day.
Take it in but don't look down.
'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world.
Nadezhda Domanitskaya.
And we danced, and we cried, and we laughed, and had a really, really, really good time.
Max Bunchai Donka Davis.
What? On your mark, ready, set, let's go.
Marcel Drev.
The horses in the back, horse stock is attached. Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match. Riding on a horse, ha, you can whip your Porsche.
Yarosha Carlotta Eckhart.
We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop the dancing.
Erin Marie Fitzpatrick.
Hey, get up, get loud. Stop pumping up the party now. Hey, get up.
Aoi Furusawa.
Just the thought of another day. How do we end up this way? What did we do wrong? God.
Svea Marie Hammerlund.
Goodbye, stranger. It's midnight. Hope you find paradise.
Hugo Anthony Hayes. Clara Winona Hilgenfeld. Jimmy Jasper Ingenhoven.
Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
Soe Ito. Takumi Kodama. Moritz Kremer. Prayos Björn Kugatasan.
By everything, if you need to let me go, ever let me go, I won't let you go.
Shiho Kumai.
All the things that we have left behind, the days when I was young.
Sung Wai Lee.
We could
Lehman.
Comes, you say, I did it all.
Marie Lehman.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light.
Jennifer Jo Lenser.
They gon' talk about me, and things won't never be the same. I'm gonna be very legendary.
Anna Katarina Lelak. Quirin Lehotsky.
Und seine Mutter hat es
Dong Liu. Maxim Leopold Klaus Heinrich Lutzenrath. Yuno Maeda. Oliver Rune Magnusson. Nina Maxine Maschmeyer. Ryoga Matsuo. Sasha Kim Minialai.
Un peu plus de cash, cash, ferme les yeux.
Takekazu Nakafutami. Moika Nakanishi. Charlotte Nasser Österreich. Marietta Irmela Heidi Nees.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place.
Nutrong Duong Michael Wen. Jorid Marie Nienhaus. Joe Noguchi. Riki Oba. Joe Okada.
Because I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. Oh, I think that I found
Esther Orta Marqueda. Zitao Pan. Alexander Pavlov. Sophie Petoruto.
How you do me like Joana? Joana. How you do me like Joana? Joana. How you gonna do me like Joana?
Leon Porat.
They were there fighting back on the front lines, strapping up their boots before the sunrise, keeping their mamas up all night in fear.
Armando Porras Vasquez. Alexandra Petrova Poncheva.
Impossible. Call me big man if you wanna reach me. When you wanna page me, it's okay. Whenever you need me, baby. Call me big man if you wanna reach me.
Laura Camila Reyes Torres.
Late up at night, become addicted to life. 아플 때 먹었던 약은 사실 효과 없지만 날 위로
Sonia Maxim Richter.
Well, anyway, let me say you're welcome for the wonderful world you know. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome.
Olivia Ellen Roden.
We're gonna go far, 'cause everyone knows who you are. So live your life. You steady dressing that big.
Puck Rosendahl.
Tonight it's time to begin, isn't it? I get a little bit bigger than I'll admit. I'm just the same as I.
Henrik Ole Rumpf. Florian Axel Shearing. Eric Schmidtke.
I always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the
Alexandra Marlene Schmidt. Moritz Schnuckel. Jonathan Kirsten Schwan.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness
Jana
is.
Sebova. Oxan Bekirsen. Leonila Shevchenko. Kofi Somechi. Imogen Tallulah Sparks. Yur Sagai.
even though the days go on so far away from it seems so close.
Rikuto Suzuki. Sambhavi Swami Imalai Vasudevan. Peter Seidman. Alina Takeuchi. Okun Alp Tatai. Yasmin Katerina Cornelia Timmermans. Stan Petrus Marinos Timmermans.
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love.
Julia Turler.
And we danced, and we cried, and we laughed, and had a really, really, really good time. Take my
Julie Eunice Apollonia Turnis.
Who that is, ho? That girl is a tomboy. That girl is a tomboy. That girl is a tomboy. Who that is?
Shoichiro Uehara. Pedro Augusto Vaz de la Mora. Jonas Sebastian Vetter. Cecily Alexandra von Salmuth. Konstantin Sebastian Freiherr von Stein zu Nord- und Ostheim. Alexandra Sophia Freien von Stein zu Nord- und Ostheim.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy.
Jinghan Wu. Jinghuai Xiong. Yuma Yamakoshi. Kaito Yamamoto. Chen Zhang. Maximilian Dirk Ziegler.
Sherry, Sherry Lady, du bist was Besonderes, eine Frau fürs Leben oder für eine Nacht. Sherry, Sherry.
Thank you, Simon and Adriana. Now you all know what's coming next. Well, you're wrong. There have been numerous references made this evening to how late the class of 2019 is. At about 22 minutes to 7 this evening, Maxie came to me and said, "The senior video's ready. Can we squeeze it in, please?" So being my normal, calm, adaptive self, I said, well, okay. So I think we have the senior video. Do we? Okay.
I've paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. And bad mistakes, I've made a few. I've had my shells and kicked in my face, but I've come through. And I need to go on, 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 on. We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. I thank you all, but it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise. I consider it a challenge before the whole human race, and I ain't gonna lose. And I need to go on, 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 on. We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. The champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. Oh, we are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present to you the graduated class of 2019.